So now we're basically ready, and now everything, assuming everything is working, your data is getting saved to the database, and now we can basically start customizing our homepage. So in version 8, I introduced a brand new control panel, which we've seen already. It's this thing here. Go to our home page, click here. This is the control panel for Meteotemplate. So, and again, it's only accessible if you provide your admin password. Here I explained all the various links in this page. So let's just go through them very quickly. So this homepage section is for setting up the homepage. In other words, specifying which blocks we want to see on your homepage and setting them up. And as I said, we have two versions of our site. If I open a new tab, go to the demo. So this is our homepage. So here we set up these blocks here, which ones we want to use and what we want them to look like, set them up, specify the homepage layout. There's all sorts of options. And we have this page, which is for the desktop, and we have the mobile version. So these are the two. And then in case you've already set up your homepage and you want to reset it, you want to go back and delete all your settings and just start with a blank homepage, then you would either reset the desktop or the mobile version. And then we have the block setup page, which I will show you how that works. But that will be when we talk about blocks. For now, I just want to show you what's here. So what else is here? Okay, here's the administration. This is the main setup. We've seen that. That's the page where you set up the template. Here's the menu. So that's where you set up these links here. And there will be a separate video for that. Because once you install the template, this will be blank. There will be no menu. Info pages. That's, if you look here in the menu, there are pages about your country, about your city, about the template, and about your station. And here is a page where you basically insert the content of the 3 pages. So you just type in whatever you want, some description, and that will then be on these pages. So if I click Brno, in the demo I did not provide any info, but it would be location. Okay. And you can use normal HTML tags here as well. So here, for example, see a tag for a paragraph, so you can use that, and then you save it. So that would be then in the menu for the info pages. Okay, let's go back. Database, we've seen this. This is where we set up our updates. This is data edits, and this is data import. So these two you've probably already seen. This is for editing data in the database. So if I click that, I can make changes directly in the database. First, we specify by default it will load current date and time. So we can select a different date, of course. So let's say we want to look at January 6th, and here I have my data. Now let's say that for some reason this value was not correct, there was a spike or something, or for whatever reason you just might want to change this. So I click edit, and you see that all the fields are now editable. And I can just type in a new one. But because it was okay, I don't want to mess up with my data, I'll just insert the same one, but you can change this, and you hit save, confirmation, saved. And it's now saved, right? So again, we hit that, I can click 3, save. Do you really want to save the changes? Okay, saved. And now we see we have the new value here. Delete, this would delete this entire data set, this entire row, right? And one more option is reset all precipitation. That's because your precipitation is a cumulative value. Now here we see in this particular day I had no rain, so it was 0 until midnight. But if this was wrong, you would have to go and delete it one by one. So instead you just hit this, and it will set all these fields for precipitation to 0. Now, I did receive suggestions or questions why there are no bulk operations, like why, for example, I cannot do something for more records at once. Now, technically, this is possible, but there is a very good reason why I did not include it here. And obviously, the way I was thinking is this. If you know how to do, for bulk operations, you will need to know SQL. And if you know SQL, then I'm sure you know how to use phpMyAdmin, and you can do it there. However, if you don't know what SQL is, making a mistake there could result in you wiping out your database in a matter of a second. So, because I know that some people, they often don't know what exactly they're doing, and they just see some button here which says whatever SQL, okay, so they just type something in, and it just deletes everything. So for that reason, if you, as I said, if you know SQL, then I'm sure you know how to use phpMyAdmin. And if you don't know SQL, then you should just really not touch this, or not do any bulk operations, which is why it's not included there. And if you need to do some things, if you have some major problem, then just drop me an email and I'll tell you what to do or what the options are. But that's why you don't have the option to do direct SQL commands to the database. That's not possible. That can only be done from your phpMyAdmin. So that's the data edits section. So let's now go back to our control panel. There we are. Station data. This will create a backup of your all data table. It will save it as CSV files on your server. So, and same here, main files and settings. So imagine that, for example, you are updating the template. You're updating from, I don't know, version 10 to version 11, and you just want to make sure that in case something goes wrong, you don't lose everything. So then you would hit the backup core template files and settings, and it will create a backup in a zip file of the settings that you specified in the main setup, and also for all your blocks and plugins. So obviously now we don't have any plugins and blocks yet, but in the future when we have some of them will require some setup, and this will basically save that settings in a zip file on your server. And you can then later on use it if you want. And then station data adds the same thing. This will create a backup of your CSV files and of your database as a CSV file. So it will create one CSV file for each year. And then empty cage, that's unless I sometimes, if in the wiki during some update process I mention you should empty your cage, this is where you do it. And these three are basically just information about the template as such. PHP info, this is basically information about your server, about how PHP is set up. And you normally don't need this, but in case something is wrong and you have some errors, I might ask you, okay, send me your PHP info. In that case, you would simply copy the content of this page and send it to me, and I will look and check that everything is okay. Installed blocks, that's simply a list of the blocks that I have installed. You obviously at this moment don't have any yet, and likewise the plugins, but this is just a list. And notifications. You remember in the main setup I said that there is a script which checks if your station is online. And I also said that there is a reset button in case it sends out an email, so that you don't get email every 5 minutes. Then you have to reset it. And so if that email was sent, you would see a reset button here, and this is where you would reset it. So that would be basically summary of what is in the control panel. And next video will be about blocks, which is very important, so I highly recommend you watch that, so you know how to install and how to set up a block.